Hello everyone, welcome to our second werewolf tutorial. This is Ling Ling.
And I'm Drew.
Okay. So werewolf games is played by 12 players. 4 players will be villagers, 4 players will be special villagers, and 4 players will be werewolf. The werewolf team's goal is to kill either all the villagers or all the special villagers. They don't have to kill all the 8 peoples. They only have to kill all people within a certain category. And villagers and special villagers' goal is to vote out all the werewolves. The games will alternate between days and night. So at nighttime, the werewolf can show the moderator who they want to kill. And in the daytime, everyone will discuss who they want to vote out, and whoever get the most votes will get voted out by the village and die. So because of coronavirus, some of us have to play werewolf online, and this is how we have been doing it. So we will have everybody's on Zoom, and then everybody needs to download WhatsApp. And during nighttime, the moderator will contact all the special villagers and werewolf on WhatsApp, and then everybody will have their Zoom videos and audio muted. And then the moderator can discuss with the special villager and ask special villagers and werewolf to use their power. And after everything is done, the moderator will announce that nighttime is over and it's daytime, and everybody will wake up on Zoom. So just to make sure that you have your videos and audios muted during nighttime, and if you are a special villager or werewolf, keep track of messages on WhatsApp. So if we can play werewolf in person, this is how we are going to see. So each player will get assigned a number, and you will sit next to your number. And then we will sit in circles, and later we will discuss the speaking order. So this is just a demonstration of players' names and their numbers. So you can see the numbers are completely random, and you can find your own ways of randomly assign people's number. Okay, so here's the organization of the game. So in the very beginnings, everybody's get their identity cards. For us, because we are playing online, so the moderators will schedule and emails and send people's identity cards through people's mailbox. So for instance, at a certain time, the moderator will ask everyone to check their mailbox. Yeah, so Drew is showing you to check their mailbox. And then and you can know your identity cards. You are not allowed to show your identity cards to everybody else who are in the games. You can only keep your identity cards to yourself. And then the moderator will announce it's nighttime, so everybody have their eyes closed if we meet in person, and have your videos and audios muted if we are on Zoom. And then the moderator will first contact the werewolf, and the werewolf will discuss who is the person that they want to kill. And then the werewolf will give the moderator a number. So it's the number of the player that they want to kill. And then the moderator will take notes. So that person get picked by werewolf die in the first night, quote unquote die in the first night. And then the moderator will invite the guardians to open their eyes if we meet in person, or we'll contact the guardian on WhatsApp if we are playing online. So after the moderator contact the guardian will ask the guardian to use his power. So the guardian can use their power, and then after that, the moderator will contact the seers, and then the witch, and finally the knight. We'll talk about what those special villagers can do in later presentation, but right now you just need to remember the order of people's waking up during nighttime. And then after that, the moderator will not immediately announce who died in the first night. So we'll first do a sheriff election. So a sheriff election is something very special in werewolf game, So everybody can run for sheriff. The werewolf team can also run for sheriff if you want. And whoever get the sheriff badge will get 0.5 more votes. So let's say I run for sheriff. If I run for sheriff, I could not vote for myself, or I could not vote for anyone. So for people who don't run for sheriff, they could decide who they want to vote for. And whoever get the most votes will become the sheriff. And sheriff could also determine the speaking order. So let's say Drew is the person that died at the first night. If I'm the sheriff, I can decide if I want the discussion to start from the right hand side of Drew or left hand side of Drew. So if you are a sheriff, you can to some extent determine the speaking order. So after the sheriff election, the moderator will announce who dies in the first night. And then after that, that person can leave a statement. So usually people who die at night could not leave a statement, but simply because this is the first night, people are allowed to leave a statement. So then the person that died at the first night will leave a statement. And then after that, the sheriff will determine the speaking order, and then the whole village will discuss who they want to vote out. And after a person get voted out, so if a person get voted out, that person can leave a statement. And after that, we will enter nighttime again. So everybody will have their video audios muted, and if we meet in person, everybody will close their eyes. And then we enter nighttime. And then after that, it will be daytime again. So at this point, the moderator will announce who dies in the second night immediately. And the person that dies will have their videos audio muted. Or if we meet in person, that person will immediately leave the room. So the person that get killed by werewolf could not say anything. They will just get killed. And then the sheriff will again determine the speaking order, and then the whole village will discuss who they want to vote out, and then they will have the second person voted out. So this is the whole organization of the game. So if the sheriff get killed in the game, the sheriff will have two options. So they can either destroy the badge, or they can pass the badge to someone that they trust. So let's say if I'm a werewolf and I get the sheriff badge, I can pass it to my werewolf teammates, or I can simply destroy it. So it's up to the person that is the sheriff to decide whether he wants the badge to exist after he died. So this is the setup of online werewolf. During daytime, we will have your audios and videos turned on, and during nighttime, we will turn off your videos and audio. So now I will turn it to Drew to introduce the werewolf team.
All right. So the werewolf team in this version that we're playing with, there are 3 regular werewolves, and there is 1 beauty pageant werewolf. As you can see, we've got the 3 in red, and then the beauty pageant is in pink here. The regular werewolves will wake up with all the werewolves at night, and so will the beauty pageant werewolf. So all werewolves will wake up, all werewolves in this case will wake up with each other at night. They'll see who they are, and then they will suggest a number of the player to kill, like Ling Ling said earlier. Then the beauty pageant werewolf has a second special ability where she will connect with a player, and then in the morning, if she is killed by the witch or voted out or dies in another way during the nighttime, she will take out the victim, the villager that she is connected with. So it's essentially, if she's taken out, she takes out someone else with her. But if she's challenged by the night during the daytime, she can't use this power. So even if she's connected with someone the night before, if the night kills her, then only she is removed from the game. And so this werewolf, essentially your strategy would be to connect with an important villager or special villager and try to get yourself voted out so that you can take them out with you. But there are a lot of other complicating factors that might make your decision of who to connect to and when to try and get voted out much more difficult depending on the situation. And I think I will go into that, and I guess right now, I think actually. So as I had played the beauty pageant werewolf before, and it was actually quite lucky for us because the night was removed from the game very quickly. And in that case, then you're essentially free to do whatever you want, because the only limiter on your power on your special ability has just been removed. But if you are playing with a knight still in the game and you don't know who they are, you have to be very careful, because the beauty pageant werewolf, they want to make themselves look suspicious so that they will get voted out, but they can't make themselves look too suspicious, or the knight will just take them out of the game and they won't be able to use their special power. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you are trying to make yourself suspicious, you should keep in mind how many of your teammate werewolves are still around, because even if it's helpful to get yourself voted out and remove a special villager, if there's only, if a few werewolves have already been removed, then it might be best to just forsake your power and just try and stay alive and help your remaining werewolf teammates. But generally, you want to make yourself look suspicious, get voted out, and take out someone important. When choosing who to connect to, you can either do it randomly, which is helpful earlier in the game when you don't necessarily know who is important, who is not important, who is going to be a problem for the werewolf team or not. And this basically, connecting with somebody random at least gives you the opportunity, in case you're voted out the first night or the first day, just to get somebody else out of the game with you. As the game goes on and you get more information, you might want to pick a couple villagers who you think are very important and rotate around them, because I think one of the things I forgot to mention earlier is that you can't connect with the same villager twice in a row. So if I connect to Ling Ling one night, I can't connect to Ling Ling again the next night. And so this is a way that you can still rotate and make sure that one of the important villagers gets removed, as long as one of them is connected to, but you won't always be able to connect to the person and get them out that you want to remove, because you might not get voted out that day, or you might have some other way that they are prevented from being removed.
Yeah,
I have found, oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to quickly add one more point. So if you are the beauty pageant werewolf, one very important thing is to protect your werewolf teammates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if one of your werewolf teammates look very suspicious and people kind of want to vote that person out, you want to be the person that got voted out. So
Mm-hmm.
then you can protect your teammates and also kill another villagers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely true. Yeah, so you have a kind of dual role as another way for werewolves to kill a villager, but also another way for werewolves to not get killed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I think just another thing on connecting, so killing the special villagers is really important. Killing the guardian, obviously a very important role that we'll discuss in a moment, but the guardian is very important for werewolves to remove in some manner, and the beauty pageant werewolf is a great way to do it if you know who they are. I would say that in my experience, and I've only done it once, but the having the witch connected to is useful. But if you are killed by the witch, that's another way. So if you're killed by the witch, you still can remove a villager. So it might be helpful to keep the witch around a little longer until they might kill you. And then you can connect to them and have them kill you, but then you have killed them in return. So, which would still be a success. So it depends on how far you are in the game and what powers have been used already. But yeah, that's the beauty pageant werewolf. The rest of the werewolves don't have any special powers in this version, but there are some other cards that'll be discussed in other videos.
Okay, thank you so much, Drew. So now I will introduce you about special villagers. So first one is the Guardian. The Guardian is a very powerful special villager, and his role is to protect a person's at night. He can protect himself, but the only limitation is that he cannot protect the same person in 2 consecutive nights. So it's sort of similar to the beauty pageant werewolf power that you cannot connect with the same person in 2 consecutive nights, and that's like the similar limitation for the Guardian's power. So let's say if I have protected Drew in the first night, I could not protect him again in the second night, but I can protect him in the third night. So just be careful about how you use your power, who do you want to protect first, and whether it's the time to protect yourself. So this is the Guardian. And now it's the witch. So the witch is also a very powerful special villager. She has 2 powers. So one power is to kill a player at night, and the second power is to save a person. So she could not use her kill power and save power at the same time. And if she is the person that get killed, she could not save herself. So usually what professional players do is that if they save a person during daytime, they will tell the player, tell the village who they save. So then people, I guess, ordinary villagers will have more information. And if you see like there are 2 players die in the games, usually it's because the witch used her power to kill a person. And in the last werewolf game that we played, there was only 1 death, but it was because the guardian protect himself, and then the person is actually a werewolf get killed by the witch. So even though there's like 1 person die at night, it could be that the witch killed somebody instead of the werewolf. So just be careful about how you interpret the death information. Okay, and now it's the seer. So the seer power is very straightforward. So she can check a person's card during nighttime. Usually what professional players do is that they check the person that they think is the most suspicious, simply because if you find out that person is suspicious, and if you can find out that person is a werewolf, you know, you give the whole village a clearer direction of who you think that the village should vote out. Another things to mention is that the seer usually is the person that run for the sheriff badge, because with the sheriff badge, if you die, you can pass your badge on to somebody else. So let's say if I tell the village that I will check Drew this round, and if I get killed by the werewolf, even though I could not say anything, I could pass my badge to Drew to tell the village that I checked Drew and Drew is a good person. So that's why the seer usually run for sheriff. Yeah, and if the person that you check happen to be a werewolf, so let's say I tell the village that I'm going to check Drew, even though I get killed by the werewolf, I can destroy the badge just to show that Drew is a werewolf. So there are lots of creative things you can do with the badge, and seer is usually the person that you want to give the badge to. So in the last game we played, both the knight and the seers want the sheriff badge, but usually you should give the badge to the seer, even though the knight is also a very powerful special villager, simply because the seer can have that, you know, can use her power in extra rounds if she has the sheriff badge. Oh, here comes the knight. So the knight power is to challenge a player during daytime, and he can only use his power after the sheriff election. Oh, well, actually he can use his power during the sheriff election or during discussion, but he cannot use his power during voting period. So if after the moderator announced that it's time to vote, the knight could not use his power. But and also, if the person that gets challenged by the knight is a villager or a special villager, the knight will die of shame. Because you're a knight, you should not challenge a good person. But if that person is a werewolf, the person immediately dies and the discussion continues. Okay, but another limitation is if the knight gets poisoned by the witch, he could not use his power.
And to add one thing about the knight, and this is somewhat true for the witch as well, a lot of people will hold back on using these killing powers because they don't want to kill a villager or a special villager. But then what can end up happening is you either die or too many villagers or special villagers die, and it won't matter if you use your power by that point. And so it ends up essentially you're too hesitant, and then by doing so you've completely removed your power from the game. So it's important to balance obviously you don't want to use it too early with no information and just randomly kill someone, but you also want to make sure that you actually get the chance to use it in order to help your villager team.
Yeah, I think Drew just said a very important point. A lot of people think, it would be too shameful if I challenge a good person. But the thing is, even though you challenge a good person, you can prove to the whole village that the person is good, which is also like an important piece of information for the game. So, werewolf is not about yourself, it's always about the team. So you should always think about when to use your power from the whole team's perspective, not simply from your own interest. Okay, and that's the night. And villagers, they don't have special power, they do not wake up at night, but villagers are also very important because they can vote and they share information. So usually when we play, there will always be some people that just simply claim that they're villagers and don't give out any other useful information. That's not good, because if the werewolf can find out all the villagers, the rest are just special villagers, because the werewolf identifies each other. So you should not, be so clear to the werewolf that you are simply a villagers. You should still try to, give out as much information as possible, try to make other villagers' life easier. And even though, you have absolutely no information, have no idea what's going on in the game, you can just claim that you are a good person and try to have other villagers and other special villagers know that you are a good person, so that you don't get voted out, or don't get voted out by werewolf. So this is also very important. So I think every roles are important in the games, and you just need to know how to play them.
Definitely.
Yeah, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. I will leave my email address to the comments, and feel free to ask me any question.